Light is blackout shades are very, very important.
And on the flip side of that, if you know light causes you to wake up, then you'd want to get light when you wake up, right? So, I think you mentioned somewhere in here about when you get up, try to get outside, or if we ever get sunshine here again, get in the sunlight, first thing in the morning if you can.
Yeah, the morning light, and there's a certain amount of lumens that you're supposed to get. So, like, now that it's a cloudy day, you have to be out a little bit longer to get the full amount of lumens in your eyeballs, and that actually helps with melatonin production for the night going into, and that has to be before 10 a.m. So the morning sunlight in your eyeballs is really good for the sleep that night going ahead. Yep, so like morning walks, like I know there's a Hard 75 and they talk about getting outside, and there's so many benefits to getting outside, and specifically before 10 a.m. And then conversely, before you go to bed, shut off those blue light things. Read a book, or get your Kindle, and so you can like black light it or whatever they call it, but remove the blue light. And I'm a victim of this myself. Like right before bed, okay, YouTube gone. You know what I mean? So, that's something that I'm going to work on. Sleeping in a cool room. Okay, they actually have these things called chili pads where you put them underneath your mattress cover, and it'll keep yours and your partner's bed temperatures at different temperatures. Okay, so if he likes it this way, I always think of like, was it Janet Jackson?
Oh, really? Exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Where was it at?
At Costco.
Oh, Costco. They're at Costco. Chili pads are at Costco. There we go. Yeah. What else is very important is that you wake up and go to bed at the same time every night. And so they actually call it, it's your circadian rhythm, but it's social jet lag. So if you were to, let's say, stay out until 1 o'clock for New Year's, and you always go to bed at like 9:30, 10, what happens is it's almost like taking a flight to LA and back on that weekend. And so that one night being thrown off that 4 or 5 hours will throw your circadian rhythm off aggressively. So people that have sleep issues, that's one of the worst things that you could do. Or hey, I'm going to sleep in because it's the weekend till 9:30, 10 because I can. No. Wake up, take a micro nap in the afternoon. Do that before 2:30. Here's a cool little, in this book, Why We Sleep, Dr. Matthew talks about, it's called adenosine. It's the gas that builds up in your head throughout the day, and that's what helps you sleep. When you have caffeine reduces the amount of adenosine, which keeps you awake and alert. And I always think of my dad falling asleep in the Lazy Boy at like 6 o'clock. So what you want is that adenosine to build up throughout the day, so when you fall asleep, you're ready to go to sleep. But what happens is when you take that afternoon nap in the Lazy Boy, like my dad at 6 o'clock or 6:30, is when he takes that nap, it releases a valve, like a kettle pot, okay? And so you want that pressure in the teapot, but when he naps, he lets that pressure out, and it makes it very difficult for him to fall asleep at night. So I would rather you sleep and take a micro nap no later than 2:30 or like 2 o'clock. Take your naps at like 11 to 2, because then if you go beyond 2, your body doesn't have the ability to build that pressure back up. And that's the same thing with caffeine. And caffeine has a 6-hour half-life, okay? So that means that 6 hours after you consume it, half of it is gone. So that's why another one of my recommendations during this time is to no caffeine after noon.
Yeah.
Noon, yep. And everybody has a little bit different caffeine metabolism. Some people are like, I can have caffeine, after dinner, and I can have a cup of Joe after dinner and fall right to sleep. That may be for some people, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't affect your sleep.
Right.
Okay, just because you fall asleep, or hey, I have a glass of red wine to make me fall asleep, that doesn't mean you get a good night's sleep. That just means you go to sleep. So there's different levels of that deep and REM sleep. Okay.
So the REM stage, the stage is if you're supposed to get into REM stage a little bit, is at like stage 4. So I always heard that if you had a dream, not that you necessarily remembered it, but if you had a dream, you were into the REM stage.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually wake up and think, I had a dream, but I don't remember it all, or I had a couple dreams, 3 or 4, but it was short.
Okay.
So I don't know, I was like, well, like you always were talking, people sleep, do you ever get into that, you really get into the REM stage enough to where you get restorative sleep. You know, because isn't that where that's where the restoration
Yep.
is, right? That's where your body really heals.
Yeah, Tim was talking about REM sleep, and he was having some dreams, but he couldn't remember them. And it's the deep sleep that you really want, which is restorative sleep. And I remember hearing something about. I always think of the mad scientist who doesn't sleep until late. So there's psychological repair that occurs before midnight. Physical repair is after midnight. So the psychological, the mad scientist never goes to bed early, so he's crazy. And that's how I remembered it. And so you want to get that prior to midnight sleep. It's very good.
When he said, go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time, the reason that's important, we think about like get 7 hours, 8 hours of sleep. It's not equal if, Monday through Friday you're in bed at 10 p.m. and you wake up at 6 a.m. and then on Saturday you go to bed at 2 a.m. and you're like, well, I'll sleep till 10 a.m. It's not the same thing. Like, you want to be as consistent as you can with those times, right? Because you notice people that on Monday mornings they feel like so tired, like, the classic, it's Monday morning, gosh. And they might have even gotten good sleep on Sunday, but they're messed up from their choices on Saturday night, going to bed late. So it has they say it has like a 48 to 72 hour effect if you get bad sleep on one night. So my advice is to, like Mike said, be as consistent as you can on that Friday night, Saturday night. And something that I do that helps me is I'll schedule something like Saturday morning, whether it's maybe a client here or go get a car wash at 7 a.m. just to get you up and doing something, right? Yeah. Try not to get out of your normal habit for 14 days. Try to keep that same routine every single day.
Well, Bryce, I think we're doing pretty good because Josh is still here. 45 minutes in, I think. Yeah. So the last thing that we have is, I think these are extra credit things, and really this program is about these habits, but we like to add these extra things, and that's supplements. So, supplements that I recommend to help you get your protein goal is a basic whey protein. And you're like, well, aren't you supposed to remove dairy? Well, the whey that we use is sourced from New Zealand cows. New Zealand has the highest standard when it comes to cattle. Okay, and so they're all grass-fed. And I remember flying to the North Island to the South Island. I was in New Zealand for a competition back in 2012, and I sat next to a dairy farmer. And he goes, "Oh, you're from the States?" Yeah. He goes, "I was at Wisconsin." And he goes, "Your cows don't shit. My cows shit." And what he meant by that was like what I was talking about earlier. He goes, "Your cows have diarrhea. Your cows look sick. Like they're not fed the right things." And he goes, "My cows have good, strong, long shits." And I think that is a good testament to a good horse, cow, human, if you have good shits, So during this period, do look at your poop and look how it evolves. It's going to change. And you can understand if you're dehydrated, if you're consuming a lot of fiber, so just kind of be mindful of it. So I recommend our whey. If you need a little bit more of a meal, there's an all-in-one that has a little bit more calories to it. And then after workouts, I'm using the Amino Recovery, and the first amino, the most abundant, is leucine in here. So very, very good for repair. And the recommendation on this is 1 scoop per 100 pounds of body weight. So if you're a 200-pound individual, you do 2 scoops. Okay. Fiber is one of my go-tos. It's not a necessity. This is one of mine that I keep in my program. D is a necessity. 100% of people that don't supplement with D, especially in these times of the year, are deficient in it. I just had my blood work. And I'm deficient in D, and so I'm taking this. And just take your 5,000 international units a day. That's all it's recommended. Okay. This is Omega. This is an extra credit thing. I don't think that this is a must, but it does help with your arterial walls. It does help stabilize blood sugar. Helps with your hair, skin, nails. Good for heart health. And then multivitamin. It's a good insurance policy because the nutrients that we have in our food isn't the same as it was that our grandparents had, okay? The soil isn't the same. It's been leached. It's been, so that's a good insurance policy. They actually did an interesting study on individuals in jails and they gave them all multivitamins, and the amount of fights in the prison went down. I don't remember what the number of the fights was, but just the fact that people were like more tame because they had a multivitamin is extraordinary. Yeah.
The good thing about the Lifetime multivitamin that I like too is they separate it into AM and PM. So you get, if you get the Lifetime one, there's 2 bottles, AM bottle, PM bottle. And the reason that is there's different ingredients for different times of the day, right? There are some vitamins and minerals that will help wake you up, cognitive function, and there are some like magnesium, for instance, that will help bring you down, relax your nervous system, and put you in more of a sleep state. So, there are some multivitamins where everything's just kind of thrown into one, and you don't necessarily know, dosages, things like that. I like this because everything is dosed effectively, and you will notice a difference in the morning time and the nighttime, being in the correct state that you should be in.
Do those nighttime ones have THC in them?
No. Tim asked a very good question. But if you're not over 18, I can't repeat it now. He asked if they had THC in them, the nighttime ones.
But they have magnesium, which is even better.
Okay.
Tim, hang around after the show. I got some stuff in my car if you'd like to. And then the last thing, this is just an extra credit thing, the detox kit. It's a hell of a product. Has things to help remove and to bind and to detox. There's a fiber in there, but the protein is made for a phase like this, and so that would help accelerate the cleansing of the body. Okay. You guys have any questions?
I don't think so.
No.
No,
Okay.
that was awesome.
So we'll send this back out to you guys so you can use it as a reference. Just don't put it on the black market and like pimp it out and make a bunch of money off this, okay? And then we'll send. We'll probably send it via text message. That's probably how we'll communicate with you guys, since we have your just like a little recap of the elimination and then the things. Okay, so.
If you didn't start today and you were kind of confused and this helps clear you up, start tomorrow and just extend it a day. It's 14 days, so ideally we wanted to start today, and if you start today, great, awesome. If you start tomorrow, then great, start tomorrow and go the whole 14 days.
I think the first checkup is Sunday.
Yeah.
We'll shoot you guys a text message and to see how you're doing.
For you two, I'll get you set up on the app, and I'll get both your phone numbers too. And then anyone watching, if you want to be set up on the app as well, just send me a DM or send me a text message, or if you see me in club, let me know, and I'll shoot that habit tracker over to you.
And if you want any of the THC stuff, just All right, that's all we got.
Peace. Thanks.